Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freaks with a Z, the podcast all about movies. Each episode, of course, is about a singular movie, and we'll introduce this episode's movie in a little bit. But first, I want to invite you, yes, you, the listener, to suggest movies for the fan vote. That's right, usually the fan vote happens during Tay's recommendation. This next fan vote has been rescheduled because we're doing something special for episode 50, which we will talk about at the end of this episode, so stick around. But we still want your recommendations, which means you can recommend us a movie either by commenting on the latest episode of Film Freaks with a Z, or by sending us an email at ff.filmfreakswithaz@gmail.com, or talking in the movie section of my Discord, the Ferret Nation Discord. Alright, I am Yemmy the Ferret. Who am I here with?
Brady Waffles.
Hey, Mation.
And just Callus.
And we are all here today. Hooray!
Hooray! I think we should put an S in one of our episodes just to confuse everyone. Instead of a Z, just put an S.
Technically, there is already a Film Freaks with an S.
I guess we can do that.
So,
Copyright infringement.
yeah,
Can we put an X at the end? Would that
X?
still count?
That
Ooh.
might, all right.
Oh, hey.
All right.
I like that. Film Freaks. Yeah.
We've gone from the 90s to the 2000s.
That's right.
No, actually, we're going back to like the 2000 because remember the clan tags? There was like,
Yeah.
XX. No,
I know. I said 2000s. The Z is from the 90s.
I guess that's true. Man, Tay, show your age. Why don't you?
I always show my age. I don't hide it.
XXX Film Freaks with the triple X.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the porn
And it's gotta be
parody.
like different capitalized X's too.
Just like,
X marks.
just like that Vin Diesel movie. All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, Callus, this is the perfect conversation to lead us into your film recommendation. What did you have for us?
Yes. So I recommended. I forgot the name for a second. I recommended Drunken Master 2.
Is Callus drunk?
Ooh.
Came out
What?
in 1994. But 6 years later, they finally decided to bring it over to the US, and they titled it The Legend of the Drunken Master. So that's why it has two different titles. But I guess most people use Drunken Master 2 as the canon title. But anyways, the movie stars Jackie Chan, directed by Liu Chia-lang, and it's got a bunch of other actors that I'm going to honor their memory by not butchering their names. So the plot goes like this. Returning home with his father after a shopping expedition, Wang Feihong is unwittingly caught up in the battle between foreigners who wish to export ancient Chinese artifacts and loyalists who don't want the pieces to leave the country. So, spoiler alert, this is finally the movie that we're all gonna rate it 5 stars, all of us.
Oh,
Right?
all of us.
I think we've actually had like 2 movies where we've rated at 5, all of us.
But not
well,
with
I guess
Callus.
that's
Yeah.
true. I guess
That
that
was
was
season
last
1.
season. Yeah.
Season 2
Oh,
comes
that actually
in.
happened before?
Yeah, season 2. We still need a first for season 2.
Yeah.
I haven't. Oh, okay. Didn't realize that happened already.
Well, like I said, that wasn't with you. It was with Coco. So.
All right.
All right. Well, since Callus mentioned bringing it to the U.S., let's talk about the dubbed version. And I think my biggest issue with that movie is
Yes.
the voice acting not matching up with the lyrics.
Absolutely
Well,
horrible.
with the lyrics.
Wait.
Lyrics, yeah. Now we're singing. You know what I meant. You know
Well,
what
I mean,
mean.
obviously the voice lines are not going to match up with the lip movements because it's
Yeah.
dubbed. But the funniest thing to me is like the voice acting for the dub version was so terrible that it reminded me so much of Kung Pao. It was
Yes.
kind of uncanny.
Yeah.
You know?
That's unfortunate.
I did like
I-
that they at least got Jackie Chan to dub himself, though.
I swear there were scenes where no one said anything, no one's mouth moved, but there was still like voices. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean that'll happen
Yeah.
sometimes just because translations are wonky.
Yeah, and there's also the thing where like I did actually watch it twice, once dubbed and once subtitled. And yeah, there's a lot of scenes that is people said like completely different things. They like changed so much of the dialogue.
Callus is making
Oh,
up
I
for
don't
last
understand.
episode when he
Yeah,
didn't watch
he's
the
like,
movie.
he's
I'm
like,
gonna watch
yeah,
this one
I really
twice.
watched it.
Well, it's Jackie Chan. I had to. I'd do it for Jackie Chan.
You did it for us because we all saw the dubbed version. So you're coming in with two perspectives here.
But yeah, the dub was just absolutely horrible. I don't know, like, was that really Jackie Chan? I mean, he usually
It didn't
does his
sound
own
like
voice
him.
work, but
Yeah.
for this
was
movie,
so
it didn't.
bad.
It didn't
was
sound like him
so
at all.
bad.
Yeah, I didn't
The-
recognize his voice at all. In
The
movie.
version I watched, it definitely sounded like Jackie Chan, but
Oh, so you
I
probably
didn't-
watched a good
Uh,
dubbed version then.
So Yemmy and I watched it on Amazon. Tay, what did you watch it on?
I watched it on a website called Daily Motion.
And Callus
And
watched
Callus?
the Blu-ray.
Yes, I
Yeah,
got the
I
Blu-ray.
was watching Blu-ray. So you got 3 different perspectives.
It's crazy. Oh, so I guess we should also address the fact that the Amazon version has the muted last minute.
Yeah, if you watch this movie
Yeah.
on Amazon, there is like a minute at the very end that just cuts out all its audio, and then it
So
comes
when I
back for the
watched
credits.
Yeah, it comes back for the credits, which was really weird.
when I watched the Blu-ray, like when I watched the dubbed version, there's like a message that showed up at the beginning that said that like this film includes the original Cantonese final scene that was not included in the American version. So I guess that's why there's no dub version that exists for the final scene.
Wow. Okay.
I guess they just went
mean,
straight to credits after those
I would have
bubbles.
been okay. I would have been okay with what's that one movie that's all in Japanese, but it's like Train to what's it called? The zombie
Train to
movie.
Busan.
Yeah, like that's all in not German, Japanese, and you can only like Americans can only watch it in like with subtitles. Like I would have been okay with that.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
I would-
I choose subtitles over dub any
yeah.
day. Yeah,
Yeah.
when I watch Train to Busan, like it doesn't even like. Honestly, I would rather have the emotional performances of the actual actors rather than someone trying to portray the emotions, doing it in a studio, away from the set, away from the actual people. You know, it's just
On Zoom, on
yeah, it's very it's not genuine at all, and you can tell just by how the actors are kind of they sound like they're phoning in their dubs.
Yeah, when watching anime, I always go dubbed. But yeah, if I'm watching like a foreign film with actual actors, I do prefer watching the subtitle version.
Yeah, and any day, I'll take that any day.
any day.
I
Over
tried
that,
looking-
whatever that was.
I tried looking for the original version on Amazon. It wasn't there. And I guess I'm not gonna bring the rating down for the movie that much because of the dub version. Because I feel like that isn't fair.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the movie is a lot sillier than I remember. Like there is definitely a lot of tomfoolery going on, which Jackie Chan loves to just throw in just silly, funny stuff like in the middle of his movies, even like when the movie is like really serious.
Yeah.
But
I
hey, that's
agree.
what makes him the greatest actor alive.
I like Jackie Chan. And like the dub version I saw, like I said, I swear it sounded just like Jackie Chan. So I'm
Ew.
sorry for Nick and Yemmy that you guys didn't have Jackie Chan.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Jackie
Maybe I just
Chan
didn't
at least-
recognize it.
Yeah, he was there while they were filming, so it's like, the dub wasn't horrible. It wasn't like some of the other characters weren't great. Like
Stepmom.
the stepmom wasn't
Mom, oh my
great.
God.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or the master's apprentice, I guess you'd call him. Can't
Oh.
remember his name. The one that got blamed for everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, the brother.
Mm-hmm.
Was he the brother? That was kind of a little
Well,
unclear
yeah,
in
I
the
thought he was
dub.
like a
servant.
Not like a well, yeah, kind of like a servant, but not like. I guess just a servant in general.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not sure. I kind of always thought he was like a brother to him or something.
Yeah, I thought it was the brother too at first, and then like when they make it back to the house, suddenly I'm like, well, now I'm not sure. I do so. Getting away from the dubs, which were not great.
No.
I like the movie was very kind of like anti-colonial, which I liked. I don't know if you guys picked up on that, but
Well, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely themes of like anti. Yeah, I guess like what you said, anti-colonialism and like people, taking over people's cultures and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I really like the line in the movie. Obviously, it was probably better in the actual film itself, but where the one legendary fighter guy is talking to Jackie Chan, and he's like, well, if they start taking our culture, Chinese people are gonna have to go to Britain or wherever to learn about Chinese culture. They won't get Chinese culture
To learn about
in
the
China.
history,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
That really resonated, and that was a huge problem back in the day. Like the
Nope. It's still a big problem,
well,
actually.
yeah, it is still a big problem, but it was even worse back then, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gotten a little bit better. Museums returning artifacts to cultures, happens more frequently now. I will say I was kind of sad that we never saw the British bastard get his comeuppance.
And
Well, he got knocked on the head once, so
once.
I guess that helps.
Yeah. I was hoping he was going to die.
I don't
That
think.
kind of makes you think if they were like planning a third one sometime.
Well, I thought there is a third one in the discography. Yeah,
It
Drunken
has-
Master 3.
It has nothing to do with Jackie Chan though. It's like completely different,
Oh.
something else. I don't know what it is.
Well,
Yeah.
this movie came out in 1994 as well. Well,
Weird.
Yeah. I know, like, when I was searching Drunken Master, there came a lot of, like, different movies came up that were pretty much either called Drunken Master or had Drunken Master in the title, but,
Yeah,
like,
out of spin-offs.
but you could clearly tell, like, none of these are Jackie Chan. And these are very low-budget knockoff films.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the movie did have a good message in there, weaved around all the action and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it didn't. I mean, it didn't really go the direction.
What
that
do you
I thought it was
guys
gonna
think
go.
about the?
Oh, okay.
What do you guys? I thought we were done. Sorry. Go ahead. Go.
No,
I'm
you're
gonna
good.
change subject,
I don't
so
even remember
everyone
what I was
go.
gonna say.
What do you guys think about the sound effects and like? This goes back to the dub version. Maybe this was a part of it, but it just seems like some of the hits and some of the slaps didn't match up. To like the core
Well, that's the wonder of
fighting scenes.
that's the wonder of this type of cinema. It's got those really over exaggerated sound effects, and I really love that stuff. When I was watching that other what was the other movie? I don't remember which other movie it was that I mentioned last time. I love that over the top sounding action. It reminded me of like the '60s Batman show.
Yeah. And that's typical of kung fu movies.
And
all the sounds are ADR, so that some of them are always, might not
and all the
quite.
sounds are go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so they
Yeah.
just may not quite line up because,
Yeah, I've seen quite a lot of Chinese movies specifically, and yeah, like the older you go, like the more crazier and like offbeat the sound effects are going to be. But yeah, I do appreciate how they sound like in this particular movie. Like they really add a lot of a thump to like all of the action. Like every hit and every kick, you can like really feel it. Even if like
Alright.
sometimes it doesn't actually match up.
Yeah.
It seemed like a little obnoxious, especially that last fighting scene. But the one that really stands out to me is when the sister, stepmom, whatever she is, got slapped in the face, and she tells Jackie Chan, she's like, "Oh, Buck's drunk," and she can't even talk. I'm just like, "Oh, come on."
Yeah, that was an annoying part with the dub there.
yeah, because there's just, well, even the actor you could see was kind of holding her jaw, like in that
Yeah.
position, where it's
Yeah,
like,
she's acting like it's broken. I'm like,
yeah, it's like,
"Come
if
on,
it, yeah,
just get over it."
if it's broken, sure, but it's fixed the next scene, so it wasn't broken. You're just
Yeah.
holding it there for emphasis, and
Two
just,
sentences later, it was like, "Oh, I can talk again,"
All right, well now that we're at this scene, you guys want to talk about the titular drunken fighting? What do you guys think of Jackie Chan's drunken boxing?
I thought it was
always good.
yeah, that was awesome. I loved it
Yeah.
so much.
To act that out, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Like I don't think drunk or sober I could act that out. I don't know. That's incredible to
It reminds me.
play that role.
So there was a character in Dead or Alive 3 that I think was based off Jackie Chan's Drunken Master, and
Yeah.
just watching him was like, man, this is just like the video game character. But the video game character, when he like bends weird and defies physics, well, it's a video game. Then you see Jackie Chan actually do it, and you're like,
And he actually
Oh,
does it,
shit.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, this like drunken boxing goes like way back in the history of China. You know, it's something that people actually practice and try to do. There was also like a Mortal Kombat character that did drunken boxing. So yeah, it's been around.
Yeah, I love the choreography around that whole scene, and then, I mean, I love the cinematography in these scenes too. I think just the changing of the angles, and when you go to the end of the movie and the credits are rolling, they're showing like B-roll from outtakes and stuff like that, and you realize just how many different camera angles and how many different takes they have to do in order to get it to look as slick and clean as it does in the movie.
And how many
was
accidents
really,
Jackie Chan has.
well, yeah, I was really impressed by this scene in particular, just because of all the different camera motions and cuts, and just how they really emphasized the drunkenness of Jackie Chan in this part.
Oh, they definitely emphasized it. No worries about that.
Yeah.
And what I appreciated about kung fu movies in particular is like a lot of times they'll use a wide angle, so they'll actually show a lot more than what an American movie would show. When two people are fighting and like they're really up close. No, here they make sure they show everything, and you can see like the super wide angle sometimes.
Well, also going off of that, I think that's like old time movie versus now time movie. I guess you could call it. I mean, like back then, all action movies kind of probably had that, but now it's all about the drama and all about like oh, here's a 2-second clip of this guy getting his ass kicked. All right, on to this love story.
Yeah, I think it's also more impressive for these older movies in the combat realm, because the actors actually have to do all the things. They don't have wires to hold them up or
cut edits that make them. I mean, there's a lot of fights nowadays that you see.
Oh, there was definitely some wires in that movie, or this movie, I should say.
Yeah, there probably was some wires in this movie.
Yeah, it wasn't like super. Like I don't think it was super abused though. I'm struggling to remember a scene where Jackie Chan. I mean, besides from maybe falling out one of the windows, like I don't remember a scene where Jackie
I'll
Chan.
say the last fight had a couple that I could point out.
Anytime that he kicked somebody and they went flying, that was a wire.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it's a YouTube channel called Quarter Crew, but they'll have like stuntmen react videos where they get actual stuntmen in and react to like old movies, new movies. And so I've learned some crazy things about like fight scenes and stuff from that. So I recommend them if you like fight stuff.
Sounds interesting. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. But yeah, it's always crazy because they'll talk about like, oh yeah, we used wire here. Or it's like, oh no, there's no wire here, and you're like, how is there no wire there?
Yeah, I mean, Jackie Chan loves like jumping from high places, and he loves doing all that without wires.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's crazy like that.
Yeah, I know he's broken several bones in his movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I had one of the fight scenes we were talking about for this movie. Now I can't remember what it was.
Well, so far we just talked about like the first time that he got drunk. Did the drunken boxing thing.
Yeah. Which that was a great scene.
I really like the action scene where the axe guys all run in, and Jackie Chan and the Kung Fu Master is just decimating them. I loved when. My favorite part was when Jackie Chan got that like bamboo thing or whatever, and it was like cutting people up and stuff.
Cutting people's faces.
Yeah.
I really found like the action in that part to be like probably my favorite in the entire movie, just because he's got this weird like bamboo thing. He's doing lots of different tricks with it, and I love how they oil Jackie Chan up, and
he's like, take your shirt off.
Yeah. It's just that was like my favorite part of the movie was when those axe guys were all just like being destroyed.
That was good.
Yeah.
It's a
I
lot
was
of guys do to fight off.
the one scene that like when they're at the steel mill, like this isn't the fight scene. This is like a little bit before, where they're like, "You guys have to work overtime," and like, no, we don't," and just tried to leave, and then he jumps down and starts like beating them. It's like, how is this gonna work? Second you leave, they're gone.
Yeah, that was
They're keeping their eyes on them.
that was a surprising moment in the movie. Although you kind of could tell
Yeah.
it was coming because the workers. Yeah, I mean, would that really work? You know, like the guy jumping down and beating everyone up, and then he's like, "Back to
Yeah.
work." I don't know if that would
Everyone
actually
would
work.
have ran.
I think
Yeah,
everyone
Everyone
would
would have
just.
been like, "Fuck this shit."
Yeah.
I'm out.
We're out. Yeah, it was a little weird, and it was like, I mean, I know like shit like that happened, and that's how we got like unions and stuff. But it's just like, I don't know if there was ever one foreman who was able to beat them back to work, and then just like decide he can leave and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always love Jackie Chan. Like, I think Jackie Chan's at his best when he just uses like normal everyday things as a weapons. Like when he grabs like a chair or like just some stick
A
he
bench.
finds, and yeah, a bench.
Classic
it's so
Jackie
great.
Chan.
Yeah,
I think
Always-
going back to what Yemmy said about them fighting off the axe dudes, that scene when they were coming up through the windows with the ladders reminded me like a scene from Lord of the Rings. Like they were just knocking down ladders, killing the orcs as they came up the window. I don't know. That just kind of reminded. Did Lord of the Rings steal from
Drunken Master?
maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe they did.
But literally, that's all I thought about. I was like, oh, it's like something from Lord of the Rings you would think about.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy too. Like when you see people falling from like the second floor onto the first floor, and like it's actual stuntmen doing that and like falling onto the tables. It's pretty crazy what they went through to get those scenes.
Yeah. When I saw that, there was this one guy who he almost missed the sandbags that were placed there for the land on. I winced a little bit. I'm like, oh, there goes his elbow. Or
Yeah, I didn't see that.
That'll happen.
I also I really like the ending fight with that dude who just used kicks the entire time.
Oh, the kicky guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it just
Guy with the
completely
glasses.
turned like the fighting styles on its head, and he just using his feet. Like it was just kind of like really fun to just watch him, because a lot of times he was just whiffing the air too. He was just like doing, and then he would hit him
Stay
once.
away.
Yeah. I
What was
love that
that
whole ending.
scene where they're like hugging each other and they're like making out with each other?
Yeah, like
They
Jackie
weren't
Chan
really,
like
but
bit
it was
his
just like,
cheek
and
or
then,
something.
yeah, and then he's like, "I'm ready," and then his legs are like spread out apart. I'm like, what is going on?
And
Yeah,
that
it's
one
like
scene, during that same fight, Jackie Chan gets into the hot coals, and I'm pretty sure those were real coals.
They
Oh
were.
yeah, they definitely were. Yep, 100%.
Yeah, you saw that in the outtakes at the end. That
Yeah.
as soon as he got out, scene ended, and they immediately came at him with fire extinguishers.
That was
Yeah, you can
crazy.
tell that they dropped into that thing like he was wearing gloves.
Yeah,
So to protect his hands, and yeah, I'm sure like under his clothes there was like a layer of protective, whatever. Also,
yeah,
but
probably.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Was that wine he was spitting out there at the end? Like, how was he making that fire?
Industrial alcohol.
Yeah, 100% alcohol.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
cool thing about the movie. They set that up. At the beginning they have the guy. The guy's like, "Oh, the fire's almost out," and the kid grabs the bamboo
Right.
shoot and throws the alcohol on it and makes it blow up. It was a nice little callback to that scene.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I agree.
Exactly.
I didn't even think about that until now. Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
but
he'd
yeah.
be dead though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100% alcohol.
Well, yeah, industrial strength. Yeah, that's why he was acting all crazy after he drank the first one. His face turned red, and he was like,
Yeah,
smoke was coming out of his breath.
yeah. Fucking Jackie Chan's head was beat red, and I'm like,
Yeah.
is he like gonna die while filming this movie? Like,
I'm guessing in real
Well,
life
there's
it was
probably a
not.
couple of times he would have died.
yeah.
I'm guessing in real life it wasn't alcohol.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was water or something, but Yeah, 100% alcohol. I'm pretty sure if he drank even like half of the portion he did, he'd probably be dead.
Yeah.
But he'd box his best for that
Well, I
0.1
mean-
second before he died.
That's why he like threw up some of it too in the middle of it.
Yeah. No, he's like, okay, now we're at a good level.
Yeah.
When I imagine doing drunken boxing, like, you know, how the dad said that, you know, that style creates alcoholics and stuff, but also your tolerance for alcohol would start to go through the roof. You know, eventually you're like, yeah, I need 3 bottles of wine just to get
Wake up
slightly
in the
drunk.
Yeah.
So he got to the point probably where he was just like, it's 100%, it's fine. This is okay.
It's like those people who
But-
build up immunities to poisons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't it seem like Jackie Chan fought better, like without his drunken stuff? Like he was handling the minions, I guess you'd call them,
The henchmen.
before the stepmom was like, "Oh, fight drunk," and then he got a little beat up. But you know,
I think
also the dad came in, so
Yeah,
I guess it's an unfair assumption.
Yeah, and I think he got a little beat up when he was just trying to drink it, you know, because his guard was down. But saying he drank it, I thought he started definitely doing better.
Yeah, it's like he can take hits better while he's drunk. Like it doesn't affect him as much. So he's able to like, you know, go harder while he's drunk.
Yeah, I do also find it weird that you know, just his stepmom saying, I want you to do it. Your dad does it better. I mean, in that culture,
I'll take the blame for it.
yeah,
And
in that culture,
really
I
didn't.
don't think that Jackie Chan would have disobeyed his father like that. I mean, like
No,
Greedy said, I think he was
not
doing
at all.
fine without the alcohol, but you know, whatever.
Hollywood's gonna Hollywood.
Well,
It's
except for
not
this
e-
wasn't
It's
Hollywood.
not even Hollywood. So.
But same thing, same difference.
Hong Kong's gonna Hong Kong.
Hong Kong it would. What do you guys think of like the mom as a character? You know, being like an enabler and lying constantly to her husband and all this.
Yeah, she was probably like the worst character in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she would have been better in the actual Chinese. But yeah, the dub I don't think did her any justice.
I honestly don't think that the original version would have been much better. I feel like she was just a very annoying character, especially in that moment when I think she pretends that she's pregnant, and then she starts like trying to fall on her stomach, and then all of a
then
sudden
she
she
falls
does
on her
fall on her stomach.
They never actually said whether she is or isn't. Like, so I don't know. I'm confused. Even like at the end of the
we
movie.
can all assume she was.
Yeah, I think she wasn't, and then after a while, she was just going to like say, "Oh yeah, I miscarriaged," or something.
She winked at Jackie Chan like 80,000 times throughout the movie, so it's like, oh, okay.
And how weird is it that they kept calling Jackie Chan like, "Hey kid," and like this boy over here, like even though he's like 30 when this movie was filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where the
Boy.
dub kind of made me feel like Kung Pao, you know, because Steve Odekirk, who played the main character, well, he swapped out roles for the main character in that movie.
Yeah.
He was also called like young and stuff like that. It was like, this guy's like a 40-year-old dude.
Yeah, he was in his 40s. Yeah, like I said, the stepmom especially gave me a lot of Kung Pao vibes.
Yeah,
But you know,
and also the other younger guy, the helper,
Yeah.
whatever he was.
That whole scene where the master comes back and they're like trying to give the, what was it called? What was the herb that
Ying Sing?
Ying Sing. And then it ended up being poisonous. It was like funny, but it was just like, all right, come on, at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I thought it was okay, but I think it went on for a little bit too long.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it dragged on for a bit too long.
yeah.
I do like how when the old master who he meets on the train, I like when he comes to the house and like he the stepmother like immediately tries to start beating him up.
Yeah,
And then
I was
everyone
like,
else kind of
what's going
gangs
on?
up on him, and then all of a sudden, randomly, they just kind of stop, and the dad's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're this guy. Okay, come on in."
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna bring that
yeah.
up. I was like, what the? I also would have liked to see more of that guy before, he just got stabbed in the back. I mean, that was a good scene to go out on, but it was just like, maybe few more scenes, seeing that guy, kick ass.
Well, he got shot, so I think that
Yeah.
was supposed
Well,
to.
he got stabbed, got
Well,
shot.
I think the stab wasn't fatal. They were gonna get him, but then the 2 bullet wounds is what took him out. And I think that was just like something to
Oh, yeah.
surprise the audience, because
Yeah.
in a lot of these movies, people get cut, thrown off buildings, everything, and you think, oh, that guy's dead, and he just gets up.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, he got stabbed in the back, but I think the most fatal thing in, I guess it would be Chinese cinema is the 2 bullet wounds. That's how you officially
Right.
kill someone off.
Yeah, that does the deal.
Yeah.
That'll do.
I was thinking about that too while watching it. Just like, I know it's a kung fu movie and like they are over the top and like they're how much damage they take and stuff, but man, these guys are still standing when like a normal person would just be down and out.
Yeah, and going back to the
What?
original Drunken Master scene where Jackie Chan's drunk, those 5 guys, they keep getting up and they keep getting punched back down, and they never stay down, not even up until
Well, there
the
was
end.
a few times in here. I mean, the Hunchman, they got up. He kept getting up.
Yeah, the Axed guys always kept getting up too, but I figured, there's so many of them, maybe it just got lost in translation. It was just different guys getting back up.
Yeah, I guess there wasn't quite a lot of them.
But it also, they had the guns, and when they attacked the factory, where they're storing the shipping containers, like, why aren't you shooting these people?
Because that's
I know this,
dishonorable.
and also another, okay, that's fine. But another scene, snakes. Like, why didn't the snakes attack, Jackie Chan and all them?
Oh, because
Why did the snakes?
they weren't like poisonous snakes or anything. They were just common
It's just to
snakes.
scare the
Yeah.
soldiers.
But they didn't know, so the soldiers freaked out. But Jackie Chan and his guys, they all knew that they're harmless snakes. They aren't going to do anything.
Okay. I guess I'll let that slide. But the way
Yes,
they
we can listen.
presented it seemed like, the snake attack, and then they're like, oh, where'd the snakes go?
They just went off. They slithered on their way to have a good life.
Yes. They went home.
Yeah.
Home to their families.
Well, snakes are very lone creatures, but yeah.
Oh, you're the snake expert.
Yeah. Taste
Oh,
us,
unless-
psychologists.
Say if they were garter snakes. Garter snakes do like to hang out together, though. So
Oh,
Mm.
there you go.
Oh,
Why are we
hey.
talking so much about snakes?
Now,
I have
now
I have
every
a lot of
episode,
snakes.
you have to give us an animal fact now.
Animal
every
fact. Okay.
Let-
There's your animal
you-
facts for this
So
one.
you got to read books, and now you got to give animal facts, and you got a lot on your plate.
Well, luckily, most of the like a lot of animal facts. I already know a lot of animal facts before I have to start reading up on new ones.
Let's feed into Tay's other area of expertise, which is CGI, and there was 0 used in the movie, right?
As far
Zero,
as
yeah.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely 0,
Didn't
see
notice
any.
any.
which is good because I like practical effects over CGI any day, unless it's like a monster design. But even then, it's like, okay, I do kind of like the original Alien more than, the CGI aliens. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, even with something like with the final scene when the bad guy dropped like those huge cylinder things filled with whatever, I figured they're probably just lightweight and they don't actually put any weight to it. But then like in the end credits when they show the bloopers, one of them actually fell on Jackie Chan and he was like very hurt. Like that thing is actually very
Yeah,
heavy.
You got a
Yeah.
bloody nose and probably a bit of a broken nose. Who knows?
Yeah.
Nose.
So speaking of the fights, what do you guys think of like the very first one with the master, like where it started like under the train?
Oh, I thought that was cool. Like that was
Yeah.
just like so low to the ground, like they couldn't even fully stand up, and I thought that was a really good use of terrain to dictate the fight.
Yeah, I really like it when movies do the thing where like the two people fighting have like very little room to work with, so they have to like change up what they do, and yeah, I really like when they do stuff like that.
Yeah, it was
Thought
cool.
it
The
looked
whole
really cool.
the whole time under the train, I was just like, grab the stick and hold on to it. You know, like why is this so hard? But I guess that's against the lore of fighting.
Well, you also got to
Yeah,
remember. I
cool.
mean, if, let's say Jackie Chan grabs onto that thing. I mean, he could be poked. You know, all you have to do is thrust it and
Yeah.
pull it
And I
back.
think he did try to grab it a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I had to do was pull it back, and it would have cut his hand.
Yeah,
Pull shit forward and stab him.
I love how wobbly the Jackie Chan sword was during that
Yeah.
whole thing. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh, it's a fake sword, and then he stabs it into a fruit, and you're like, oh, all right, maybe
Yeah.
it's just a very thin blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just very thin, but it is sharp though. Still.
Yep.
I like the end of that fight where the master's like, you should go get your train, and Jackie Chan's on the ground in like this crab position, and the guys and I don't remember the exact lines he said, but he had a few like funny jokes in there where he's like, oh, what stance do you call that? I don't even remember. I don't
Oh,
know.
it's like a
Place
jar
the
of
flute.
wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few punchlines in there that were pretty
There's,
good.
yeah, I remember the one where like
I
he
think
got,
they were mostly in the beginning of the movie. I think they kind of like teed off with it, as the movie went on. But there was definitely like twice where he was like, "What position do you call this?" And then he gets swept under his feet with the weapon, the same weapon, and he's like, "What position do you call?" It's just
nursing
good.
a hangover.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, that whole scene with them was good. It was fun.
Speaking of sharp swords, as Kawa said, what do you guys think about the scene where the one guy threw the knife and like it disabled the gun, the revolver? Yeah, that scene.
Yeah, with the sword, like he actually put it like right behind the
Little
what's that part called?
hammer.
The hammer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the little hammer, so it couldn't click.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, that stood out too. Like that must have been like crazy. You gotta have crazy accuracy to actually
Yeah.
place it perfectly like that.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that scene until you guys said wobbly and then sharp. I was like, oh yeah, that scene.
Yeah, it was very minor, but it was cool, but then like a bunch of other cool stuff happened right after, so yeah, you just kind of forget about it, and then you remember
That's
it.
swept under the rug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but that was kind of cool.
There's like a lot of different things where like some like extremely cool things that happen, but they're like just over in 2 seconds, and then they just keep going.
Yeah.
I like the
All
part
right.
where like in the final fight, when the guy's like grabbing onto Jackie Chan's arms, and Jackie Chan like jumps on top of him with both legs open, and like he rips himself off like rips the entire sleeves off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 What was with any fire that was like? Why was it a spark plug? Like I feel like and maybe could be happening. I don't know. I've never been in a fight like that, but it just seemed like anytime something was on fire, and then they hit like your opponent with it, it just became a spark plug. I mean, that could have been movie effects, but I was just like, all right, it doesn't seem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
might have
just
been
partly practical effect.
Yeah, it probably was like what they used. They used something that when you hit it hard enough, it made sparks.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of those rods were like pretty much hot enough to where like if you did touch it to the wood would just catch fire.
Yeah, they're like Jackie. They're in one of the outtakes. The guy with the pole fire, like hot steel, accidentally like hit Jackie a little bit, and you see him like go
Yeah.
which is crazy.
And
It's
also,
like,
this is
why
probably
are
my
you
last thing I have about this movie. Do you guys think that big dude that was guarding the care package or the shipments went down a little too easily when Jackie Chan fought him?
Wait,
Or do you,
the guy who did the
When he
foot
first
guy?
went to the factory?
yeah, when he first went into the factory?
Oh, the guy with
And
the
that,
chain.
like, big dude, yeah, the
Oh.
chain, and the big dude he was like, he looked like 7 feet tall, but he was like whipping everybody ass, and he was just like, oh, Jackie Chan, like, all right, I'm down.
He's like the mini boss, getting ready
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
big one.
That's good. The mini
Well,
boss
the
to
bigger
the
they
mini
are.
boss to the boss.
I mean, the guy
The
with the
bigger they are,
leg
the harder they
technique.
fall.
I mean, he looked like the most towering guy in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I do feel like the plot for the movie was a little bit everywhere. It kind of went through things very randomly. It's almost felt like until like the end when they actually had like, once you actually learn that, the relics are priceless relics and Jackie Chan wants to save them. It kind of like randomly kind of skips around to a few places. Like, Jackie Chan gets caught and put in that prison and he's beat up with the other guy. And then, they're freed. And then they just go right back into planning. And then they go right to the, the British headquarters again. And I know it took a little bit, in movie time, it was like a few weeks or something like that after, for Jackie Chan to recover. But it did seem to jump around a lot with the plot.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, even in the beginning where, like, they showed, the scene with Jackie Chan coming back to the house, and then they showed the factory scene, and then they showed the market, and like a bunch of different like side plots that haven't yet come together. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Any other scene before we wrap up?
I think I'm good.
I've hit it all.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right,
All right,
Callus,
so-
start us off.
Guess I'll start off then. So yeah, Drunken Master 2 or Legend of the Drunken Master. I did see this quite a long time ago, I guess, when it was kind of newer, like early 2000s. Yeah, I loved it. It became like back then like one of the most impressive fights that I had ever seen at the time, and it just like really blew my away. And I really like the action, like the cinematography, the choreography of the fight. This movie has a lot of good things going towards it. But yeah, it's also a lot sillier than I remember, like I said, and a lot of different things going on that I kind of like was like, I don't know about this, stuff like the stepmom, etc. But overall, I still think this is like a very enjoyable movie. I'm glad that I bought it on Blu-ray, and I watched it twice. I didn't mind watching it twice, and probably will watch it again, in a year or two or whenever. It's definitely a good movie to have in my collection. As someone that, really likes kung fu movies, this being just one of the best. Overall I would have to give this movie a 4.5 out of 5.
All right. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought that the fight scenes were the cream of the crop, as I like to say. It definitely had great cinematography in there, great effects, practical effects, I should say. The choreography was like the star of the show, and the story was secondary to everything, and the plot did seem to move around to different places pretty quickly. That was the one thing that I think was the most negative thing, and then obviously, watching the dubbed version was not the best idea for this movie, and I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I had just listened to the actual voice act, and the actual acting in the movie. So I'm not gonna really discredit it that much for that, because I could always just go out and buy the DVD or whatever to get the real acting. But there was like one, that the stepmother character was kind of annoying, and there's other characters who didn't like get enough screen time, but they were integral parts to this story. So in the end, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay, I agree. I did, kind of, we have a group chat. I did kind of, hint at that. It's gonna put the rating down for me, but the dub version was a little annoying. But as Yemmy said, you can go out, listen to it. So I'm not gonna knock points off. So you're welcome, Callus. It was just a joke. But the acting was a little hit or miss, especially with the stepmom. There was some scenes where I could nitpick, and it'd be like, there was too many sound, effects, with the padding and, the hitting and, using the fingers, and it was just got a little obnoxious. But I will give this movie, overall it was good. It was a fun, Jackie Chan movie. I've seen a couple of others. I'll give this movie a 3.5 out of 5.
Pretty much, yeah, I agree with everyone here, what they've mentioned. I didn't. Yeah, the acting I thought was fine. The dub was a little, but that's the dub, and dubs are always a little weird, and I'm not gonna fault it for the dub. Overall, though, I'd give it just a 4.5 as well.
Alrighty. Well, it has come to that time. This is episode 40. It should be episode 49 if I've done my math correct. So next episode is episode 50, and to celebrate episode 50, we all agreed to watch a trilogy of
The
movies.
50 Shades of Grey trilogy.
No, we did not.
Nope. We all decided that we were going to watch the Back to the Future trilogy. A little bit different there, Callus.
All
I
right.
mean, you're welcome to watch the 50 Shades
Yeah,
of Grey
go ahead-
trilogy if
go
you
ahead and
want.
watch it.
Yeah, you
Callus.
can watch it. Give
us
us
the
a full report. Yeah, you know.
But you still have to watch Back to the Future.
Yeah. You still have to watch Back to the Future too, but you can have a whole episode to yourself for the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. So
And
Back
make
to the
sure you
Future.
watch it within, a year. Callus.
Right. So the Back to the Future trilogy, the first movie came out in 1985, and actually the movie is set in 1985, and it of course follows the story of Doc Brown, who invents a time machine inside of a DeLorean, and Michael J. Fox, aka Marty McFly, gets sent back in time to the 50s, 1955, where he accidentally, his mother accidentally falls in love with him, and he has to set things right, or else his future is going to be erased. Speaking of the future, in the second movie, which came out in 1989, Doc Brown and Marty McFly's girlfriend, who I forget her name right now, travel to the future to fix something in the future in 2015. And then after they solve all of that, Back to the Future 3 comes around, and Marty goes back in time to the West, into the, like the, what was it, like the 1885, to the Wild Wild West, to save Doc Brown from being hung at the gallows by Buford Tannen. Buford Tannen, that's his name. So that movie came out in 1990. So there is a bit amount of time between them all, but they all link together pretty well from what I remember. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun trilogy to revisit, and we'll give our thoughts on that in the next episode.
So, the fun thing, Back to the Future 2 and 3 were actually filmed at the same time. But the first one was filmed separately.
They waited a while to release it then.
Yeah.
That is cool. I think I do remember that tidbit of information now. But yeah, I mean, this is a classic trilogy. Is it the perfect trilogy? I guess we'll find out. And this is actually a movie that didn't get a random fourth entry like a lot of the other trilogies from the same time period, like Indiana Jones and all those different ones. So yeah, I think they were thinking of doing it, but I mean, with the Crystal Skull from Indiana Jones, I think that kind of was like made them go like, maybe we shouldn't do another movie.
Right.
Hey,
There was a cartoon that took place after the third movie.
Yeah, but that's cartoon. I mean, Saturday
I know,
morning
it's-
cartoon.
It's not canon.
Mhm.
Or is
Right.
it?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like the Ghostbusters cartoon, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, all right. You guys have anything you want to mention before we end the show?
Look out for an episode with an X in it.
Yeah, and go watch more Jackie Chan movies.
More Jackie Chan movies. Callus will probably recommend another Jackie Chan movie next time, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Probably.
It's good to know our replacement for Coco has his own thing too.
Yeah. Coco was superhero movies. Callus is Jackie Chan movies.
Like only Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
From here on out.
Alrighty. Well, look forward to a supersized episode of Film Freakz with a Z next time around. Maybe not. I guess we'll find out when we get to it. We'll see how much we have to say about the trilogy. But we're going to go over each of the Back to the Future trilogies. You can find those movies on Amazon. I'm pretty much everywhere. I actually got the Blu-ray trilogy from a local used store back in high school for like $15.
Ooh.
So
wow.
like I think I'm set there. It
I
didn't come with
also
like a
have it on
case or
Blu-ray.
anything. It came in a
Oh.
jewel case.
Oh,
Ooh.
I have the original case on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think my dad has
There you go.
those.
Yeah, I think My dad does as well. But
Oh, should we mention what other trilogies we were thinking about? We were thinking of.
Or we can save it for 100.
Oh yes, 100. There you go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
We'll get there
well, now that
eventually.
they kind of know this is the thing we do, and we can tell them they can be excited for it.
Maybe we can do like the trilogy thing, like 70, like at number 75, and then number 100.
Honestly, I forget what movie I recommended.
Well, I
the Lord of the
remember
Rings?
I wanted to watch the Jurassic Park trilogy. I remember
Yeah, that's
that.
the other one we can
Was
save.
mine Lord of the Rings? I feel like
Yeah,
mine would've
I
been-
thought someone mentioned Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
We had said no because that's like 9 hours.
That's right.
Now someone's gonna be like, "Oh, Transformers trilogy."
Trilogy. It's got 5 movies in it.
First 3 Transformers, go.
Maybe for
No.
episode 100 we can watch all the Lord of the Rings. How about that? We'll think about it. Anyway,
Or 50 Shades.
no.
Oh.
Anyway, I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I've been here with.
Greedy waffles.
Daymation.
And just Colossus.
AKA 50 Shades of Blue. And we are
XX.
Film Freaks with a Z. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Or
Bye.
Films Freaks with an X.
Ciao.